How could we convince an atheist that the soul exists?
This is a question which is very small, but the answer is very big. It will consume maybe 20, 30 such sessions or more to convince anyone about the existence of soul. Because it's related to the question of there being God. If there is a God, there has to be a soul. But there is also some evidence of the soul's presence in the form of a comparison between animal kingdom and human beings. It's a very profound subject and has to be attended with detail. And it is delicate as well, so if you build it here all together, I think it will be difficult for the audience to understand it fully, because the time devoted to it will be too short. The briefest answer I can give is, the person should turn into himself and realize what is it which is thinking. What is the thinking force in him? If there is no soul, evidently there is no God. And if there is no God, the mind is made or mind is created by nothingness. You understand the point? And it is the mind which we refer to as soul. The ultimate seat of consciousness that is there. But no consciousness according to them precedes the creation of this consciousness. But this consciousness is born out of, according to them, no plausible theory how this consciousness could have been born. Because when they discuss brain, the scientists, the evolutionists discuss brain and not mind. The brain, according to their discussion, is an extremely complicated thing. Yet the complication about it has not been designed or created. This is impossible. If there is complexity, there has to be a designer who must have contemplated that complexity. And without there being a conscious organizer, things cannot fall into perfect steps with each other. There have to be contradictions everywhere. And the mind should not have been organized as human mind is. According to the scientists who simultaneously do not believe in a creator but believe in the mind, they know that the mind could not have been created by the most advanced computer manufacturers. Because there's so much to mind. I mean, the brain. There's so much to a brain that even after 100 years or 100,000 years, man cannot imitate the brain, not to mention his own designing. Computers are just nothing as compared to the brain. For instance, you visualize the organic systems in man. Organs are complex enough to defy their creation without a creator. But when you talk of systems, there is a correlationship between an organ and another organ and yet another organ. So the eye is extremely difficult to explain. How it got created, how it had an internal order and dependence on of the parts on other parts. But the eye itself could not see anything, because whatever it saw was on a very tiny spot where some cones and rods were stirred. But what if they were stirred? The message which was conveyed to the brain was conveyed through an optic nerve, which in itself is a highly complex thing. It is made of very tiny threads of nerve chains which run into millions, and they all together make the cord. And the cord goes to the back of brain, somewhere here, and delivers pulses. And all the rest is analyzed and deciphered by that some spot. What is that spot? What is it doing there? How could they have co-evolved all these things? The brain, or the spot somewhere behind, analyzes the information it receives and enlarges it and inverts it to its own advantage. The spot where the picture is made, it is made upside down. And it's a very tiny picture, hardly to be seen by naked eye if we observe. But when it reaches the brain, it reaches in pulses, and the pulses are understood and analyzed and enlarged, with the result that we are observing this room lifelike. No camera in the world can possibly do this trick. It's impossible. But this trick is said to have evolved, suddenly erupted into being. You see, there was no eye, we saw just small tiny things and gradually it began to enlarge. It kept on completing the message or perfecting the message in its understanding right from the very beginning. The eyes have been studied of different animals. Even the remotest animals in time have the same perfect unit and the same perfect system of understanding. But that's a very big subject. I don't want to enter into that. Already, as I have told you, you have asked a very big question in a few words. But let me develop this one. Now, what does the brain do? It sees the whole heavens, the stars, the moon, the crescents and everything. Half of the universe appears as big to the eye as it is actually. The expanse is limitless. And all that is done in that little tiny spot. Once this message is delivered there, that tiny spot transfers this message to all the nervous system of the human, of the person who views this. But we'll come to that later. First of all, you just shut your eyes in a split second and the message is written. It will not be wiped out. And the same film of retina can be used again and again and again. Has any man invented such a film which could be reused, the same part, and which would have retained a procession of other images which it had received before. One can say a video camera can record. A video camera can record, but it has to be enlarged and shown, and when one event is shown, the others are not there. But what the eye does is a completely different thing. You shut your eyes and it's ready to record another thing, while the previous image is still recorded and retained. And you can recall it whenever you like. Even after 70 years or 80 years of your life, if you were especially impressed by something you saw in the childhood, during the childhood, you just want it back and it will come back. All with the same glory and grandeur that had impressed you once. But that's not there is to it. That's not all there is to it. This message is conveyed to the whole nervous system, and sensations are recorded. If, for instance, you saw a grand display of something during your childhood and it got recorded in you, that grand display also brought about changes everywhere in the nervous system. Your fingers might have twitched, you might have become afraid, with spasms all over the body. You see, all that is recorded. So when the image is brought back, it brings back to you every little emotion which brought about a change in any part of your muscles or sense of feeling hot and cold and this and that. Everything is recorded. So it's not the image which is just brought back. Can you imagine a video bringing back an image of 70 years, old, an image 70 years old, at a touch button, and then it should also bring all the sensations back to you. The image has not recorded anything. It's just there in a small little frame. And it's not as grand as I have been just telling you. It's not lifelike. You enlarge it to the size of 1,000 square miles. Yet, it will not be the image which you see with your own eyes. What is this happening? You can ask your atheist friend, what is this? Who is recording all this? And who has designed this system? There has to be a preceding conscious designer. And unless you convince him of the existence of God as I am describing it to you, you cannot convince him of the existence of soul. Because that is a subject which is dependent on your belief in the existence of God as a creator, as a conscious creator, as a perfect designer. Then the need would arise for a soul to be there to recognize him. And then the operation of brain is immediately understood, because the brain is only a computer, and the ultimate thing which computes, which operates on this computer, is an indescribable existence of some consciousness. See? So all that, if you remember, you can tell him whether he believes or not. That is not your responsibility. You should pray for him. Another thing, the eyes are not just mechanical organs. They do things which no blind evolution could have taught them. It's impossible. When, for instance, you go to the country of Marty, you may sit on the top of a hill and enjoy the beauty all around. What is the purpose of an eye, if it was created by blind evolution, to enjoy the beauty of things? What is beauty? What is the beauty to the eye? If a man has been born for thousands of years and raised for thousands of years in a beautiful place, then you would say perhaps gradually it dawned upon him that this is beautiful because I belong here. But if he goes to, for instance, the Sahara and watches the sunset there, he will still enjoy the beauty of that sunset immensely. He enjoys the beauty of the animals and the weather, which, you know, for instance, under winds, the flower, the branches of the trees and the grasses, they dance sometimes in a wind to and fro. And it looks so beautiful. What is it? What is beautiful? That message which is conveyed by the eye is just an impulse. Who enjoys this beauty? Why should he? And what beauty is, nobody knows. So there is far more to it than meets the eye.
Expression
I'll
anglaise.
say something which perhaps will be translatable. You can ask Marty, has he ever observed a dog sitting on the top of a Swiss hill and enjoying the beauty all around?
Donc avez-vous déjà vu un chien assis en haut d'une montagne
Or a rat,
suisse
for that matter.
ou un rat qui apprécie la beauté,
Or a fox,
ou un renard,
or a horse.
ou un cheval?
They don't do it because they do not have souls. According to the Quran, the soul is granted only to man. And this is the difference, wide difference between man and other animals. Man can enjoy things which simply appear as scenes to other animals. They see their way out of something, they see their way into something, and they don't realize what is happening all around. So that is the purpose of soul. Only soul can do it.